Hey folks, Malforian here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1.8.0 Robe free update changelog. Paradox announced today that the patch is actually out today, and this is the full changelog for the update. So we're just going to take a look through, see what kind of interesting stuff's in there, a bit of a review of the patch notes, and then we're going to have a little bit of a chat at the end about kind of what's going on with Crusader Kings. So anyway, we're just going to get straight into it. There isn't a whole lot here, if I'm being honest, so it shouldn't take us too long. So the free updates, this is a lot of the stuff they announced in the dev diaries before, so you can now save and load custom characters. This is outside of like how they look. This is like how the stats are attributed, you know, everything else, kind of how you set up a character. This is really good if you're playing the same character in multiple playthroughs. You don't have to set it up custom every time. You can just load it in every time that you're playing. So it is quite cool. I'm not sure how often people do that. Let me know in the comments if you do that, but it's cool anyway. You know, it's a cool little feature. Completely reworked the bookmark screen. They showed this off last week in the dev diary, kind of changing how the layout is. Obviously shows that the new bookmarks are coming in the future, which I think everyone knew. That isn't that surprising. It'd be interesting to see which ones we get. I know a lot of people want a 700s kind of bookmark. I'm not sure if we'll ever get that, to be honest. I think they said before the game came out why they didn't do it. I know it was in Crusader Kings 2, but we'll see anyway. I'm sure we'll get like a 900-ish. I think it was the Iron Sentry in CK2 that came out. I think we'll get something like that in the near future anyway. So yeah, they've just changed kind of like how the UI is laid out. It looks pretty cool. Nothing too crazy though. Added new and unique illustrations for every tenant. That is good. You know, I'll always take more art in the game. The art team always does a fantastic job. Added 70 new custom faith icons. Just some more icons for if you make a custom faith. And I'm going to be honest, guys, that is basically it for the patch. Like I say, at the end of the video, we'll talk about it a little bit more. And then we go on to hardware. This is mostly for Mac players, I think, but it looks like some huge upgrades for them. So hopefully, if you do play on a Mac or Linux, by the looks of it, you'll see some nice upgrades from this. Let me know if you do. Game balance. So there are a couple of changes here. The top one is disinheriting is now free for children with a disputed heritage. Mozarabs can now use a strong hook to coerce the Pope into binding with Rome, which we did see in the dev diary last week. Again, quite a nice change. Updated the consequences for revoking hostile holy orders. It will now add further to their faith. That is actually really good. Like it was kind of crazy before that didn't happen. You could revoke a holy order if you were Catholic and you'd taken their land, and they basically kind of nothing really happened. Nothing too crazy happened anyway. So this is actually really good. It ups the further because obviously they're like mad that you took a holy order that was landed somewhere, but it makes sense as well. You wouldn't just leave them there like, hey, yeah, you can have a holy order in my land. It's not my religion, but sure. So that is actually quite a cool change. Apart from that, there's additional rewards for forming the Kingdom of Aragon, but it doesn't say what they are. I imagine the rewards just weren't that good before for doing it. Rulers can no longer be deposed if they happen to inherit a tyranny war from a lower tier ruler. That is great, because that was super annoying when it happened. Break away from Rome now requires you to have a poor standing with the head of faith. I mean, kind of makes sense. I guess you'd have to like intentionally annoy the Pope so he doesn't like you, so you can then break away from Rome. I guess it makes sense, kind of, you know, if you really liked him, why would you want to do it? But at the same time, you know, you can like somebody and still want to not be any part of them. So Iberian Conciliation achievement is now classified as hard instead of medium. Some of the classifications for achievements are wild in this game anyway, but it's kind of weird to see that one get changed compared to other ones, which seem like they're definitely in the wrong tier. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the achievement anyway, but it is kind of wild. That one got changed and some others didn't. The best one here, though, this is almost the best change, I think, in the whole patch. Auto-fire the court chaplain if they are excommunicated, except if you are also excommunicated yourself. Now, this actually gives you a way to get rid of a court chaplain who's terrible. You know, you always want a court chaplain who has 10 or more learning, so you can get duchy claims, and you know, overall they're just better at their job. But for me, trying to get those duchy claims from the claim county function is kind of the primary reason to use your court chaplain, and being able to at least have a way to get rid of them before you get, I think there's a tenant where you can freely change them. I can't remember now off the top of my head. Maybe I'm wrong with that. I know by default you can't with Catholicism. You have to wait till they die. This actually gives you a way to get rid of them. I mean, it's going to be really hard. You've got to excommunicate a court chaplain, which is going to be super difficult. But, you know, you do see it happen. At least it does give you that different way of doing it, which is nice. And then next we go on to the AI. Fixed a case where a raiding unit could not path. This was basically like super hard, I think, for this to actually happen. They had to move their capital whilst they were raiding, and the AI then just kind of never figured out how to go back home. So I've never seen it happen, but I guess it was happening, so that's pretty weird. Otherwise, The AI will not try and convert children of a vassal with religious protection anymore. That is great, because it kind of negated the whole point of, well, not the whole point, but could get religious protection from the AI, and then they'd just convert your children, and they wouldn't help you, because when you took over as that child, you'd then be their religion. So this is a good change. The AI will marry young men to old women less often. The weight of alliances and the impact of age has been rebalanced. A fantastic change. You'll see the AI obviously not do it as often, because it was pretty crazy. You'd see people who, you know, potentially could inherit and things like that, just getting married to like 50-year-old people and never having children themselves. So again, kind of crazy. It's lasted almost 2 years, but there we go. That's finally getting done. This one also is amazing. The AI will now send fewer requests for chess challenges. Thank you. Thank you. Having just done a campaign in Iberia, I mean, you can get chess challenges elsewhere, but obviously Iberia, where it's kind of default, you can get them a lot more often. It's super annoying when you just start getting spammed by them, especially as it affects their opinion of you if you just say no. So I think this was good, or they could have just changed it so if you reject it, there was no modifier after one attempt maybe, because it was often the same person just constantly trying to do it to you. So anyway, good change overall. And your characters are a lot less likely to accept a war assistance contract against you if they're allied with you. I mean, that just makes sense. So good change. And then interface, they've just changed how this looks on the bookmark UI. Again, I guess nice. Oh yeah, it's a little bit different down here. So, I mean, it's cool. It actually matches in game, which I guess it should always have done. Adultery events, this is good. They've changed the UI for adultery events so you get a bit more information about what's going to happen. Mainly the opinion modifier. By the looks of it, yeah, it kind of clears up so you get a bit more like knowledge of what's going to happen when you choose the options, which is good. You can now open the list of potential agents even if no one will join the scheme. This used to, for example, plan who to seduce or fabricate hooks to further your interest. Again, another good change, because yeah, before you couldn't see the list, so you had to kind of guess who might be on the list. Whereas now you can look at it as it says, you can then plan like, okay, I'm going to seduce or fabricate hooks against all these people. Then when you're scheming against somebody, you can then, you know, work towards that without having to guess, basically, in a long-winded way. Basically, it does exactly what it says there. It just helps you plan out a bit better and know exactly who you want to be, taking action against. A vassal contract modification window will now warn the current liege is not the rightful liege. Compositions no longer display requirements that are opposite to what they see, which is a funny one. Again, some of these you're like, how are they in here after 2 years? But anyway, there we go. So again, like nothing too crazy. I think that's the main changes. Yes, this is like the actual changes to the game. Nothing too crazy, but there are some, you know, good ones in there. Excommunication, the marriage things and things like that. So overall, you know, quite good, I guess. And then there's a load of bug fixes. I'm not going to read through the bug fixes. Most of them are just changing like characters around a little bit, making sure localization's correct and things like that. So I'll leave a link to these patch notes in the description down below so you can read through them, but there's nothing too crazy in there. And then there's just some other changes, just kind of, again, these are usually more the historical changes to the game. So they're changing the Reconquista Cultural Innovation name. So this is usually just where they put like minor changes or historical changes where something's maybe been named incorrectly before and kind of updated it. So yeah, nice little bunch of changes there. And there we go, guys. That's the 1.8.0 Robe free update. I did promise at the beginning a little bit of a chat about this, so we're going to get into it. I'm usually trying to be pretty positive on this channel. I don't usually try to like bash things, or it's not really what I'm about on YouTube. I just like playing games and especially Crusader Kings. But I think especially early next year, we really need some news from Paradox about what is going on with Crusader Kings, because this is a 1.80. This is like a round number update, you know, 1.7 or 1.8 or 1.9. Generally, for games, they're quite big. You know, if you think about Imperator Rome, I think it was a 1.2 update, basically changed the entire game. I know that's a bit of a special case because they had to basically do that, and it didn't save the game anyway, but it was a fantastic update, to be honest, if you never played it. And generally in games, like a 1.8 update would be quite big. Now, I'm not expecting like a Byzantine rework or trade or something like that to be added to the game, but it's pretty wild to me that this is all we got. Like I said, there's cool stuff in here. I don't know, this doesn't really feel like much to me. Like, I know they said, oh, we've got a free patch coming before the end of the year, and I thought we'd get something, like, I don't really know, like some events, or just maybe like a little bit of a flavor thing somewhere, or a little bit of a change to maybe a system, but nothing too crazy. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't know, I was expecting more. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you guys, are happy with this. Like, I'm happy with the changes, but I'm also like, where's the content, guys? Like, I know a lot of us have been saying this, but it's been, what, 2 years? And we've had like 3 patches that have like real content in there. And it's getting a bit crazy now. I think in January, February, the Crusader Kings team, I think they really need to like make an announcement of what's coming and when. I know they had the recent, well, I think it was last month, the dev diary that was, I think, the floor plan for the future, which kind of discussed about some of it. But again, in there, it didn't really say when we're going to get any content. It said these are the things we're looking at. And there was a lot of cool stuff in there. But it didn't say, like, next year you're going to get this. It did say, oh, we're looking at maybe an expansion and a DLC next year. We're not really sure how it's going to work. We might have Byzantine rework, but we've not really even started on that yet. I don't know. This is a bit kind of a bit of a rambling end to this video, I know, but I just think we really need a update, like, what's happening with DLC. Like, if you look at Stellaris, if you look at EU4, they've got a constant train of content coming. And Crusader Kings just doesn't. Like, we've had, what, 1 expansion, 2 DLCs. I mean, we have the event one as well, but, it wasn't, I mean, it was a DLC, and it does have cool events in there, but that's all we've got. This year we had the Royal Court and that's it. And if you don't really do Royal Court stuff, which is easy to avoid, like, I like Royal Court, but it only affects one small bit of the game, like, playing it, system-wise. It affects a lot of things, from, like, the prestige and the opinion modifiers and stuff like that, but the actual, like, playable bit of it isn't that big. And, we just need content for the game. Like, we just need some flavor. Like, I just want, like, next year, it's not going to happen, guys, but I just want, like, 5 flavor packs next year. I want Byzantine in there. I want a flavor pack for Africa. I want a flavor pack for, the Arabic area. I want a flavor pack for the steppes. I want a flavor pack for, I don't know, Eastern Europe or something like that. I just think, like, we need more content for the game. And I don't want to go back to the old Crusader Kings 2 model of just, like, loads and loads of DLC for the game. But, like, we need something. Yeah, anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm just kind of rambling on at the end here now. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, I'm happy enough with this update, but to call it a 1.8, I don't know. It doesn't really sit right with me. But hopefully, like I said, beginning of next year, we'll get some actual updates on what to expect and when. Because, yeah, I just want more content for the game. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed playing it. I'll happily give Paradox some money if they just give us some content. But hit that like button if you've enjoyed it. Even if you only enjoyed the first half and the rambling bit you didn't enjoy as much, hit that like button. It helps other people find the channel in the future. And if you're new here and this is your first video, I cover Crusader Kings and other strategy games on the channel. So hit that subscribe and you'll get all that in the future. But yeah, we'll leave it there for today, and I'll see you in the next one.